Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now and experience the unique essence of life in Wilkes.
Matthew, welcome to Life in Wilkes.
Hey, how are you doing, Carl?
You know, I'm doing fantastic. And all the better because you are here, because I'm excited to learn more about what you do and why it's so important. Disc golf is something that I think all of us have probably heard about. Some of us have done. I haven't done it yet, but I've been to a disc golf course, so I've seen that, but I actually haven't done the activity, but I'm going to.
Yes.
So let's talk about disc golf, how you got in the business, and a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, I guess it's been about 7 years ago now. A good buddy of mine named Carl invited me to come out and play something called disc golf. Now, I kind of immediately dismissed it. I was like, that doesn't sound like fun. Throwing frisbees, it doesn't make any sense. He said, once you get out to the course, you'll completely understand. I'm not much of wanting to get outdoors and do any sort of hiking, exercise, you know.
So you're not an outdoor guy.
No, I
inherently
have a lot of video game background. I play a lot of video games, and I like to stay inside. So this was a great way to get out, get some good exercise. From the moment we threw the first throw, I was kind of addicted at that point.
Okay, wait a minute. So you went from being not an outdoors person.
Right.
To your first encounter with this, what, do you call it a frisbee?
No. We got to stay away from that.
Okay, so disc.
I don't get that offended. But trust you me, there are some disc golfers that do.
Well, that's where we have to learn about the protocol.
Right,
what we should call it. So what's the thing called?
It's a disc.
Okay,
yes.
So the disc. So I want to clarify what you just said, because that was a huge statement, or it seemed huge to me, that the first time you go out with your friend to play disc golf, that first experience was you for a moment in time, you went from your video game, your video activities, to falling in love with this outdoor sport.
Absolutely.
The first time.
First time.
Wow. That's got to be some kind of power that we need to learn about.
And it happens far too often in the sport. Not far too often. It happens often in the sport.
Yes.
So people will come in, they're looking for something fun to do outside with their family, just get that exercise that we all really probably should take part in. And they go out the first time a little, a little skeptical.
A little apprehensive.
A little apprehensive, yes. Right. They come back to the shop, tell me it's the most fun that they've ever had in years. The whole family gets into it. Before you know it, they're getting a basket for the backyard so they can all putt at night.
Oh, wow. All right. So that's some really good information. So that's kind of a launching pad for us.
Yeah.
So before this, so before we get too deep into our exciting story of disc golf, which sounds to be life-changing.
Right.
That's good, right? What did you do before? What kind of set the stage for this entrepreneurial experience?
Let's see. I've done a lot in the food service industry.
Okay.
Like a server, bartender type for a number of years. And then I worked up actually at Lowe's in the corporate office.
Okay.
When my first child was born.
Right.
So I wasn't happy there. I didn't like it. I like a customer experience where at the end of it, they're happy. So, you know, when you're in the food service industry, most of the time at the end of the meal, you're pretty happy, especially if you got good service and good food.
Right.
Up there, it was not. I was taking care of problems, and they weren't really taken care of when I got off the phone with people.
Right. So some things are just difficult, right?
Right. So it was during this time period that I learned about disc golf, and I loved it. And previously, I had a food truck where we did like chicken, potatoes, cotton candy, snow cones, and funnel cakes.
So there was an entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah. I didn't love that work, so I didn't stay in that work, which is probably pretty good because COVID hit food trucks pretty hard.
Right.
So we went to a course near Raleigh, and my friend said, well, dude, we got to go to this disc golf shop. And I was like, what are you talking about, a disc golf shop? I'd been ordering my disc online and maybe going to Walmart and seeing what they had. Well, we went into this pro shop, disc all lined up on the wall, posters up, like the hair raised on my arm right now. The hair raised on my arms, and I said, why do we not have this in Wilkes County? And I just kept thinking about it, and I wasn't happy at Lowe's. This was several months later, and I just got to thinking about what should my next business be. And I set money aside. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to enjoy what I do, and disc golfers in the area need a pro shop, and as well as people need to be introduced to this amazing sport because it's life-changing. And we opened the shop over on 9th Street. I guess we're going on 3 years now. Before moving over here to 10th Street, which I am your neighbor, which is pretty cool.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just been a great journey along the way. Met a lot of cool people. A lot of people got involved in disc golf, never thought they would get into it. So
you're 3 years in.
Yeah.
So 3 years into not only discovering disc golf yourself, right? Well, let me ask you that. How long was it from that life-changing moment?
Sure.
That was it a morning or afternoon? Oh,
it was daylight outside.
Okay,
yeah.
So in the light of day,
in the light of day,
you discovered disc golf. So how long was it from that moment till the entrepreneurial side of you kicked in, and you said, "Hey, we're going to do this"?
So 7 years ago, I started playing. So I guess it took about 4.5 years before I said it's time. Yeah.
And between that time, you were doing other jobs.
Period, yes, and I had a child and a new child on the way. Right. So a lot of life-changing.
So you're building a family.
Right.
You're building a family. Were you born in Wilkes County?
No. I was born in Forsyth.
Okay.
But I'm from here.
So you're in the region.
Yeah, I'm in the region.
You were born in the region.
I grew up here.
Right.
Moved away a few years, like 18, 19, 20.
Sure.
And I moved back. Met my wife.
So you're in your mid-30s now.
Yeah.
And you've got business going. So let's talk now about the business that you're in and what's that growth been like, because it's very unique.
Right.
I think you have the only disc golf shop in Wilkes County, right?
Right. Yes. There's a few other people that might sell discs like Walmart and Dunham's and stuff. Sure. But as far as like a pro shop,
right?
There's not anybody in Wilkes County, which is a shame because we have a phenomenal course. Which is another reason why I built the shop. We have Rolling Pines Disc Golf Course, which when I was introduced to the sport was like number 12 in the nation.
Is that where you went for the first time?
That's where I went for the first time. So that first tee shot, I got to see my buddy throw. Now, his throw was infinitely better than mine. I probably made it about 75 feet in front of me. He, on the other hand, was parking a 300-foot hole.
That sounds impressive.
It is, and that's kind of what did it, was seeing the disc come out and do the full flight. So they kind of do like an S pattern in the air, and it's just really cool to see it when it happens.
So it's a bit like regular golfing and billiards.
Yeah, actually, yeah, so, which I'm a lover of as well.
Right, okay.
And I used to play golf a little bit with my dad a long time ago, and I love the sport. Golf takes a few things. It takes a good bit of money and a good bit of time, both of which are kind of precious to most people. And I think that's why my age group, especially and younger, resonate with disc golf right now.
Okay, let's talk about that for a moment. Who are your, I don't want to say ideal customers,
right?
But what is that range? Who's playing disc golf now?
So the The 20 to 34 age bracket is the largest group that I have. But I have people in my system all the way from, people bring their kids in who are 5, 6, 7 years old. I think my oldest customer is 84, and they're getting out there 2 to 3 times a week and playing disc golf. So
Okay,
it's very, very broad.
So let's talk about the benefits. So
Sure.
From an agility standpoint, like you said, you had someone 80, so always balance is a concern.
Yes.
Always that keeping moving is an extremely important thing to do, right?
Hand-eye coordination.
So let's talk about that. What are those benefits?
Hand-eye coordination, just the cardio that you get from just walking, because it's hiking. You are hiking, so at some of the larger courses, they may be 10,000 feet. So by the end of it, you're walking 2 miles while throwing a disc in the woods. It can be kind of taxing. Let's see other benefits. Mentally, it gives you goals to work on. I think one of the biggest draws of golf is that you can work on specific parts of the game,
right?
And then you are overcoming challenges yourself, which is great for your mental health, and also just goal orientation.
So comparing regular golf to disc golf, it seems like the cost of entry is going to be less on your side,
Significantly,
right?
yes.
But that journey. So if someone says, "Hey, this sounds interesting. I want to go do this. I want to try it." I guess people try things first, right?
Yeah.
And it does something to them. I would imagine many people would have an experience similar to yours.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, this is great. It's beautiful. It's relaxing.
I've not had many people go and try it and not become big into it and actually make it become a part of their lives. There have been a few that it's just not for, but typically they go out the first time, they get their starter kit, so they'll have a shoulder bag, it'll have a basic putter, mid-range, and like a driver in there.
So
they go play, come back, they have to get the bigger bag, get all the slots, because, in regular golf, you're not going to go out there with 3 clubs. You're going to go out there with a full bag.
Okay, let's back up. So just so that we get vernacular right, I'm imagining, because I know what a putter is and a driver is.
Right.
So are when you're describing, using that terminology for disc golf, are you talking about different types of disc?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So just a basic rundown. Every disc has a speed number associated with it.
Okay.
And that speed goes from 1 to 14. So the lower speeds, like 1 through 4, those are considered putters.
Okay.
They'll be more blunt. So think of like an airplane's wing.
Okay.
Not super very aerodynamic. Maybe think of it as like putting the flaps down on an airplane.
Sure.
A lot of low speed control. Whereas the drivers are extremely aerodynamic and very thin. So they're made to slice through the air and go very quickly. That also means you have to be able to throw them at the appropriate speed. You're kind of at the mercy of the wind in some occasions. And then everything in between. And there's various levels of stability, if that makes sense to you. Stability, like at the end of flight, things want to fade over. So if you're a backhand player, right-handed, the disc will want to go straight and then fade left at the end of flight. There are discs that
so
you
physics are involved with this.
Physics, yes.
So,
And not only do different discs fly differently, and some will want to go right, some want to go left. You can change the angle that you throw. So there's something called a hyzer, where the disc comes out like this. There's something called an anhyzer, where it comes out like this, and that manipulates the flight, almost like a purposeful slice and is it cut in golf? Fade, cut.
Yeah, sure.
It's been a while since I played ball golf.
Well, in our business, it's the film stops rolling, but
yeah.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
So you're
right.
What is it, Tim? Is it cutting golf?
I think it's cut.
Yeah.
Cut and slice. So
Cut
a
and
disc can have cut and
That's
slice built into it, which is kind of cool. It is really cool.
All right. So now you're on the course. You're cutting. You're slicing. You've got these different types of disc. So you're not going with just one. You don't play the entire course with just one disc, do you?
No, you can if you want.
Right.
As like a challenge, which is kind of fun.
But as you escalate,
Right. if you were going to a tournament, you're probably not going to show up with one disc. You're probably going to have a full bag. And that's something I didn't know about until I started the store. I had no idea that there were tournaments that were ran all across the country for disc golf.
If I remember correctly, you shared a piece of information that I found amazing when we were talking about this a few weeks ago. And that is that in North Carolina has one of the preeminent disc golf courses in America.
Yeah. We actually have 3 of the top 100. Rolling Pines here in Wilkes County.
Charlotte has
a lot of top courses. I don't know how many are in the top 100. There may be more down there. I haven't gotten to go to Charlotte in a while to play disc golf. But we also have North Cove, which is in Marion. There was a big tournament there last year. There's actually 3 courses on site there. It's really good. And then in Cary, North Carolina, there's Diavola, which is another top course.
Davidson College.
Yep.
Davidson College?
And Charlotte has more disc golf courses within their region than anywhere on the planet. A few years ago, I think it was 35 courses within 30 miles, and that number's just continuing to rise.
So the disc golf craze, the beginning of the sport, if you will.
Right.
When did that start?
1966 is technically when the father of disc golf came out, and he put the patent in for the basket and the frisbee.
In 1966?
1966. Steady Ed Hedrick. But where I really think a lot of the history comes from, George Sappenfield. He's actually local to this area. In 1965, wanted to throw frisbees at baskets for the kids on the playground. And him and another guy teamed up. And I think the sport really took off like 74, 75.
Right.
There was a world championship, I believe, in 82 that brought a lot of exposure to it. It was more of a West Coast thing for a long time. And the latest boom was during COVID, when people were stuck inside. They had nothing to do. They had to get outside to do stuff.
And this would be a much easier sport than going to maybe the country club for golf, because there were restrictions there as well. So this made it more accessible.
Right, yeah.
And people had more time on their hands.
Way more time, yeah. I think that was the largest boom in disc golf. I'm pulling this stat out of something I read a long time ago. I believe it was 250% increase for the year.
Well, that's easy.
Which a lot of niche sports got it.
We have quite a few new sports now.
Pickleball.
Pickleball, of course, comes to mind. But the one thing about pickleball that I found interesting and a little concerning, but just because I think we have a lot of older people who are doing pickleball.
Right.
I have a lot of friends that play pickleball. They love it.
Yep.
But then there are a lot of injuries there as well.
Yes.
Falls.
Yes.
So, and I don't think we stop doing sports because we stumble around occasionally, because we've got some balance issues. That's kind of part of it, I suppose. You do those things to improve your balance.
You push your boundaries so that way you get better.
But with disc golf, I mean, other than I don't know, you slip and fall on some pine needles.
That's the biggest danger.
Right?
And actually, it's funny you mentioned that with pickleball. That's what's kept me from playing pickleball.
Right.
I used to play soccer, and I'm really big into we like motorsports. So I've had a lot of motorcycles in my life. Unfortunately, I went over the handlebars going down the interstate and injured my left ankle. Well, that kept me from playing soccer or running. I used to like to run track and stuff. So I did some outdoor stuff.
Right.
Okay, but the injury kept me from doing stuff. Tried to do pickleball. I guess it's been a couple years ago. I can't do it, the high impact part of it. Disc golf, on the other hand, you can pace yourself. If you need to sit down and take a break, you can take a break. If you only want to go play a few holes, you can do that. So there's no, the potential for injury is far less, as long as you can walk.
Right. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Or I would imagine if you couldn't walk, I mean, there are people with disabilities that I have talked to who actually enjoy the sport.
Oh yeah, there's a guy I follow on social media. He's in a wheelchair, and he can throw farther than I can, which is amazing. So it's and his local course is handicap accessible. It has a trail so people in wheelchairs can get out there and throw. I think that's great. That it's a very handicap accessible sport.
All right, what are the challenges you see? Far and few between, seems like.
No, because until people experience it or really talk about it, most people dismiss it as not a serious sport or something serious to look into. I think there's a lot of resistance from like a local government level in some areas to add it because it takes up some space.
Okay.
So utilization of that space could probably be used to make more money for the town or whatever they're in.
For whatever reason.
What they don't think about is if you build a course and people travel, they've got to eat. They've got to come into town and spend the money. It gets the local kids, it gives them another activity. It gives families something to do.
So are you saying that this sport actually brings people into the community?
Yes, I have.
From other communities?
I've had people from Washington State, Texas, Oklahoma travel to play Rolling Pines specifically.
Okay.
So that's why we're really lucky to have a course like that. I think my farthest, it was Washington State was the farthest traveler to it. And they were on a disc golf trip down the East Coast, and this was one that they had to do.
This is one of the stops.
And of course, when they got here, there's an app for disc golfers called UDisc. It shows you all the local stores nearby. If you come to a town to play disc golf, you typically go visit the store, and then you probably eat, spend some money in downtown. Disc golfers are very much about that, going into downtowns and
so people
giving back to the community.
So people who travel, who are cycling or doing whatever as a either a communal sport, they're traveling with friends, or they're going to have this individual experience for themselves. You're suggesting that those are people who enjoy the local culture while they're there.
Yeah. I get a lot of people.
That makes sense.
They travel in RVs. I have some full-time RVers that just travel the country all year, and they'll go and they'll stay a place for a couple weeks. This is one of their pit stops. They say it's the most beautiful part of the country for them.
Right.
And they've been all over the country.
Sure.
They really like Wilkes County and of course Boone. Boone's beautiful. They just love the mountains. So it's interesting, the people that I've met.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Matthew. So the future. Let's talk about the future now. What do you see? And let's say within the next year, the next few years, what are you envisioning for not just your business, but the evolution of disc golf in general?
I think it'll become more mainstream. I think the popularity is still there. The growth is still there. It's slowed down a little bit from the COVID boom. But it's courses are being built all the time. In fact, our neighboring town of Elkin is building a disc golf course. I was down there teaching them about disc golf just this past weekend.
And how was that? How did people
respond? It was fantastic. Those people loved it. They're really excited to have the course come in. I was surprised, actually, the group that I was speaking to, most of them were older. I would say the youngest person in the group was probably in their 30s, like me, and they seemed really excited about disc golf. So we took some baskets out there, we let them throw, and they just really enjoyed it. Like it's cool to see that grin pop up on their face, especially the first time. There was this one lady, she was 20 feet away from the basket, and she threw two in a row, and you could have. It seemed like she won the lottery. She was so excited that she did that. So, again, that goes back to like personal growth and stuff. Sure. It's great. It's just fantastic.
Little victories, right?
I think the next few years are going to be really good for disc golf. As far as here in our community, it's still growing. The shop's doing well. We're adding more and more stuff. We've got some cool events planned in the coming years. Our first big A-tier tournament is actually happening this year in Wilkes County at Rolling Pines.
Tell us what that means.
So basically, there's A, B, and C tier events.
Right.
C tier typically is what you're going to see. Trying to explain the various differences in them. Basically, an A tier has to have the biggest purse and the most amount of signed-up players.
Okay.
So it attracts more professional players.
So that's your highest level.
That's your highest level.
Okay.
That's your highest level, which brings more exposure to it. The towns are going to be more involved, I believe, after the event. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Great. That sounds fantastic. So your life has certainly gone from a place of solitude with you and all your friends around the world.
Right.
Play games to now you're enjoying the great outdoors, and you've got people coming to you that you never imagined would happen before.
Right.
And that's incredible.
And we're happier every day. We don't have negative interactions at the shop. You know, we're just bringing joy to people, and that's really what I enjoy about it.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Matthew. Well, thank you for spending some time. Believe it or not, 25 minutes have passed.
Really?
And you're like, see, it's really like, how'd that happen, right?
Yeah.
How does it happen, people, that we start talking about what we love, right?
Yes.
And
we could talk forever about this.
The time just flies.
Yep.
Oh, not forever. I've got someone else. But
well, you know, I could talk forever about it.
And you know what? I'm so happy for you because you have something that you now take great joy in, and you're doing it in a place that we all love, which is Wilkes County.
Yes.
Are you glad to be part of Wilkes County?
Oh, I love Wilkes County.
Yeah.
And right here in downtown North Wilkesboro, it's the best place to be.
It's a good thing.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share the show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.